We're so back.
It was a Thingus false start.
A false Thingus.
There was a false Thingus. Some say.
Some say.
Some say it was hell on earth. Some say that we were doomed.
But we came back like the Doom computer. We were never really doomed.
The Doom computer is, well, it's not still around, but in our hearts it is.
It's true. Well, all right. Where do you think it is right now? Do you think it's in a landfill?
No. I think somebody who works at the dump may have taken it home and like given it to somebody who, you know, runs a dump of sorts, but sees the value in those things.
Yes, yes.
You know, like don't all old cars eventually end up in a junkyard? They don't just end up as like pieces unless they get like destroyed on the road, I guess.
Completely destroyed.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you need to mute your camera pro there.
I need to mute Twitch.
Yes. And right on schedule. Hello.
So what am I supposed to do? And can you hear me okay? How do I sound? How do I get out of here? How go? I thought it was just press up, right? Oh, it's down. They had to be different. What about kill? I can't hear you. You're muted. You're
muted
still
because
muted.
I was talking to my son.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Thank you, Gabby, and thank you for everybody who waited. Sorry about that. We're going to resume as if nothing happened. I mean, because nothing did happen. It was a big
nothing even happened. It's nothing. It's like a Drake diss track. It's nothing. It's like he tried to make the Heart Part 6 to like, you know, diss Kendrick, and he made like a really shitty like version of what the Heart Part 6 might have been. And then Kendrick made the real Heart Part 6 and it was beautiful. It makes me cry. It's cute.
Wait, is that the one where he's like talking to his kids?
It's like I think he's just like talking. It's just like a heartwarming song about him and the homies or something. It's like him and having his aspirations, and you know, kind of like how Drake did a song about that, except it sounded like shit. Made me want to kill him. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh yeah,
Started from the bottom,
Yeah, no, you're. When you get a chance, Joe, could you center your camera? Just bring it a little towards no,
this way.
A little more back. Just a little more back. Yes, a little more, tiny bit. Yes. Yay! Hooray!
Okay.
You're
Good.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. I forgot about that song. I mean, everyone made fun of that song when it came out. Like,
did they?
That song's never not been a joke, right?
I don't know. I just remember hearing it and thinking, how the fuck is this popular?
How is it popular? That's a good question. What was Drake up against in like 2012 or whatever the hell, like whenever the hell everybody started caring about
he was in Degrassi, The Next Generation.
Well, yeah, but
that's the bottom. Did no one give a shit about that show? I mean, I didn't like it, but some people did.
No one in America did. I think Canadian kids were watching the shit out of it.
Yeah,
but that's certainly not enough for somebody with.
That's like 3 people. Well, yeah, like so does that make him have like humble beginnings background? Because
he was a kid who
was on TV, but
he was forced to play a disabled kid in a wheelchair, and he wanted his character to be able to walk, and made a big stink about it at the time. He wanted his character to be cured and to suddenly start walking again.
Well, that happens in Breaking Bad. Hank, you know, he gets better. He gets paralyzed, but then he gets better.
Hank gets better? Right.
Yeah.
But then also, like, Walt gets better.
Well,
like
Walt
the guy that had cancer.
He gets better, but then he gets sick again.
Oh, right.
And at the end of the series, he's like, I'm a dying man.
Right.
What's the point?
I hope I'm not spoiling this show for anybody. Like, do you think there's
I
any?
wasn't thinking about it. Sorry.
Do you weren't thinking about the audience?
Not for that show. Yes,
No.
for The Sopranos, but not for Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no, because like The Sopranos, you can ask somebody in 30 years to give that shit a try. But like Breaking Bad, if you didn't watch it while it was coming out, like you missed it. Right?
Yeah, like Lost. Yeah. I didn't watch that when it was coming out. And now I can't watch it.
Oh my God! Do not. Like that's how you'll feel about your time. That's how you'll feel about your life.
Gone.
Yeah, gone and lost and wasted. Because like once you realize that the writers of Lost had no idea where it was supposed to go, you realize that it never meant anything. I mean, obviously none of it ever meant anything, but you know, it's like a magic trick. Like you cannot feel like your time has been wasted. You have to feel like there was some sort of payoff for like going along with the bit.
Yeah.
And Lost doesn't give you that. So, you know, if you were watching, maybe you felt like you were being fulfilled in some way as you went. But then like by the time you get to the end of the show, you're definitely going to be like, so they never had an answer for like about 75% of what they put forth. So that sure does make it seem like none of this had any meaning to the people who created it. That they were literally just, you know, they're
just
like
churning out sausage for television. It's like when AI produces images and it's like doesn't have any meaning or intention, but it's made from parts that you recognize. So it's like pieces of food in a sausage.
Yeah, I mean, except that like you could live off of a sausage. Like this is like without nourishment.
This
you know?
is unfulfilling, right?
Yeah. At least, yeah, the sausage.
But like, then what hooked you to it?
What hooks you to Lost? The promise of meaning and intent. Like the show makes you think that it knows where it's going. Because it you know, it's like if you
we got something.
Yeah. Well, if you set up a really intriguing sounding riddle, right? If
yeah.
You're like, what's this and this and this, and you describe all these factors, and the person's just rattling their brain, and then they're like, I give up. What? And you're like, I don't know. Like that's what the show is doing.
I was hoping you'd get bored and go away.
100%. That is absolutely what it was.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad that so many people wasted time on that. I mean, Game of Thrones was maybe also a little directionless.
Yeah.
You know, I dropped off at some point because it felt like it was going nowhere.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, spoilers, they didn't even have the books for the final season, and they turned it into whatever they thought would happen. It was a shit show.
Well, yeah. I mean, George R.R. Martin didn't know what it was going to be either. He was like, I don't know. So, like, the TV writers were actually tasked with something.
So what?
Impossible.
We're going to act like we're all betrayed that he led us astray with, like, his books? I mean, you know, we were into it for the things that were there.
Yeah.
You know, like naked chick dragons. Cool.
It's true. Like Game of Thrones was so gratuitous that like you didn't need to have a point. And
yeah.
And maybe
it's like real life. There's no end.
Yeah. Yeah. But like Lost was like setting things up in a way that like did not have any sort of immediate payoff. Like Game of Thrones is like sugar, where like you're already digesting it on your tongue, right? Yeah. You don't need to eat it. It can just go in your mouth. But Lost was like, don't worry, later this mystery will be interesting.
No!
Oh, no, oh, that's terrible.
It was so close.
Do you think that girl who's really into Sonic drowning would be into that?
Yeah, like Sonic drowning like a few inches before he gets out of the water.
Yeah.
I bet she loves that shit. It's like it was the most painful thing to her when she was a kid, but now she's in control.
Yes, she's in control. She has processed her trauma.
Yes. And now she has a save state for underwater just so that she could do that over and over. I guess I have to do everything I just did again. Because I died. Oh, wait. Am I muted too? Am I muted too? I am? No? Oh, okay. Anyway.
I'm muted because
Yeah.
I was having sweet conversations with my son. All right, Gabby has a child rearing question. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you were talking about Lost. It got very enthusiastic in the chat for a few minutes there. Xenoceratops claims that the writers were trying to tank it for the first 2 seasons. That's a really funny thing. I'm not going to check the validity of that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gabby asks, when Oscar was being potty trained, did he ever lie about needing to use the bathroom at bedtime? Your toddler and husband just walked back from the bathroom, and she claimed to have done poop, but dad says it's a lie. No, but that sounds totally age appropriate. Like she got a lot of praise last time she did a poop, I'm guessing. If you give your child exorbitant praise for anything, they're going to try and get that praise by doing the least amount of work possible, right? So, like, I guess this is also a perfectly appropriate age for a child to be like, lying? Lying? Easy? No consequence?
Yeah.
Let's try. And, you know, I mean, no, he didn't do that, but, you know, I don't know. There's no use in me giving any advice. I will say, like, my son, compared to some of the lovely little fellas he hangs out with, fellas and ladies he hangs out with, is a pretty honest kid. He even if he tells a lie, he usually cops to it very quickly.
Yeah.
He has generally found that while yes, there could potentially be positive consequences to brief positive consequences to lying, there are more positive consequences to honesty. In fact, we always encourage him to be honest, and when he's honest, we you know, at worst get firm with him. We never get mad if he's honest. So I guess that's how we've handled it. It's just like, it's very obvious that you're lying. Don't lie. It's okay. You can tell us the truth. And you know, as they get older, you just sort of allow them to lie to you a little more because they need to. They need to lie as they start to have their own lives. But a child who does not know how to poop in the potty yet cannot lie and get away with it.
Yeah.
The poop is either in the potty or it's not, lady. Toilet training is hard. It's really hard. I think I've talked on the stream before about how one time I went down a rabbit hole of people who, specifically like Americans and Europeans, who were really obsessed with the idea of teaching your newborn baby to potty, basically.
Yeah.
Because apparently in some cultures in the world, they do this, where they just they basically teach their child from birth to like signal when they need to eliminate. And that means that your child is like naked all the time. Your child's walking around naked all the time, and you're supposed to literally spend every waking second running after your child with a little pot trying to catch it.
Yeah.
And teaching them from the scant instances where you actually manage to catch their piss in the pot. that's what you're supposed to do, baby.
And then they have to see you do it, but it's behind them.
Yeah.
And they're already scampering off in
off.
another direction.
They're on to the next thing.
This is like a Game & Watch game. Is like infant toilet training.
Infant toilet training. No, I mean, like when I got obsessed with this, I didn't actually try it. I did the thing that I always did when I had a very small child and I was obsessed with something, which was I watched a ton of YouTube videos about it. And it was just a bunch of moms, and obviously it was all mothers, in case there was any doubt. It was a bunch of moms who were like reporting on their progress with this particular like training regimen, and they were all doing horribly.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any, they couldn't spend their life doing anything else because they were doing this all day. It was going terribly. And there is no way any of those children learned to use the potty earlier than anybody else.
They're just like chasing them around with a potty and then a hose.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Disgusting. And I'm sure if the father is in the picture, he's really, really unhappy.
If he's even alive.
Yeah. Well, I think, what it gets down to is like, perhaps this is a technique that people use in parts of the world, but there is an entire cultural infrastructure for that. And you don't have that. So you can't do that in America, you weirdo. You can't. I know you don't want to waste anything. I know you don't want to waste paper. I'm sorry for everybody else. I'll stop talking about this in a second. I did the cloth diapering. I did it all the way through. And it was so annoying because I didn't want to waste the paper. But I committed to that and I was able to do that. And I'm still very proud that I did that, even though it was a huge pain in the ass. You get to choose like one of those things that you want to do. Like if you want to do one like special bespoke thing with your baby, if you're very, very lucky, in my case, you work from home and so does your spouse, then maybe you can pull one of those bougie little baby things off.
Yeah.
But even one is pushing it. One is hard.
I built a gym for my baby.
Yeah, I mean, people do a lot of shit and they make YouTube videos about it. But no, I ended up doing the method that everyone does these days, it seems. It worked. And all I needed was to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. Because we would go up during the pandemic, we'd go up to Canada. And if you went to Canada, you could not see anybody for 2 weeks. You had to be quarantined for 2 weeks because at the time, nobody had it up there, not in Nova Scotia. So they didn't want any dirty Americans coming up with their nasty diseases and ruining that. And so every time we came up to visit the family, we had to rent a house and quarantine for 2 weeks before we could see the family. Which again, you gotta work from home if you want to do fun stuff like that. But we were quarantining in this, I will never forget this house. This was a house built by a guy. Like it was a guy built home. I would say an owner built home, but it was a guy built home.
A guy built home.
Yeah, it was
the kind guys build.
Yeah, it was so not to code in any way. It was a house built on a guy's land by a guy. And it was seriously such a beautiful house. The man who built it has since died. He lived on the property and he built this beautiful, strange house in Cape Breton, way out in at the tip of the Atlantic. And we stayed there for 2 weeks, and we did the thing where we just like took up the kid's diaper, put him in underpants. And we just paid attention to him very closely when he was 2 for like 3 days. And that's all it took. Basically, the thing people are trying to do with newborn babies, we did it to a child who was old enough to think rationally. And just our luck, he loved to read. So, So we gave him Franklin. We gave him a Franklin book that we found in the attic of this beautiful, weird old house. And he sat there until he accidentally peed in the toilet. And that was it. That was it. We caught it. We got it. Anyway, let's stop talking about this. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Pee, poo poo, diarrhea, doo doo.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Doo doo pee pee caca.
Oh my god. I will never forget this one time that I was like driving around and we saw like one of those like live, work, like one of those buildings.
I'm so lost. Where do I go?
And like Mike read that. He's like, live, work, pee pee. And I was driving and like laughing uncontrollably and slamming my head against the dashboard for like 5 minutes.
Oh, a trash? For me? For free?
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
That's just
grape.
Where's that? What's that old giraffe up to?
He's in his house.
Having fun.
In Africa. That's where he lives.
Where
That's where he's from.
Oh.
Take.
Giraffe. I remember our giraffe year.
Yeah.
It was like you and me and our sister had a real giraffe of a year where that was just the best animal.
Well, I thought maybe she wasn't as obsessed with giraffes anymore, but then when the kids were playing Mad Libs and they asked her to say a noun, she said giraffes.
Wow. That stuff dies hard, I guess.
Yeah, like a giraffe.
Like a giraffe.
When it falls over, it falls so freaking hard.
The thing about giraffes, though, is like, unlike being obsessed with like Tenchi Muyo or something, a giraffe doesn't get worse when you remember it. Like, a giraffe is just as good as it was 10 years ago when you were really into it. Giraffe hasn't fallen off.
Yeah, well, giraffes fall when they're bored.
Oh.
They're so tall. When they're bored, they fall.
Yeah. When a giraffe swallows, what do you think it feels like? Wait, swallows what?
Swallows twig. Well, I don't know, but a giraffe has like a really long tongue, so it probably swallows it with its really long tongue and feels it all the way down with its really long taste buds.
Oh. It's just feeling it all the way down his neck?
Well, like, where's your tongue actually begin? Like, at the beginning of your throat?
I'm gonna say here, right? Where I'm pointing.
Your tongue is definitely longer than however long we think it is.
Here?
No, well,
that's too long. That's too long.
I don't think so.
No. There's no way my tongue is this long, right? No.
How long is your tongue?
How long is your tongue?
These are the questions. Thingus question of the week.
Thingus question of the week. How long is your tongue?
Or how much longer is it than I think?
Than you think it is? Well, it's one of those things that we're never going to know the answer to because it's impossible to know. The information doesn't exist. This, okay, so this is a heavy influence on Undertale, yes?
Actually, yeah. I feel like the first thought I had when seeing Undertale was that it reminded me of this.
Oh, it's a cave story.
Oh, it's a cave story. Oh, it's just like Undertale.
Yeah, especially like the sprites, yes, but also like these little talk icons reminded me of Undertale a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like some rare interviews with Toby talking about his intentions with making Undertale, and he was saying like, you know, I wanted to make a game just like Earthbound without ripping it off entirely. Something I wanted to do was make a very silly game with this undercurrent of seriousness, and like I feel like the art is so adorable in this game, but it's actually pretty dark. And I think that, yeah, like that really must have inspired him and said like, yeah, I can see it clearly now. It's perfect. The art style versus the tone has a little bit of a clashing, and that's what I want. Like that's what is good for a game like this.
Yeah. To feel the pain, of these characters because of how beautiful and you know how charming and lovely their world is.
Right. You suddenly you don't want it to be destroyed. You don't want to lose it.
Right. Well, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like you need to begin the Lord of the Rings with the Shire, so that you can see like what's at stake, right?
Yeah.
The beautiful world, like just the peaceful, sweet world.
I wish I knew where to go. I'm like very lost.
I was just reading The Hobbit to my son tonight for bed. He's pretty engaged. He gets very engaged whenever a new character with a fun voice shows up. The first time I could tell he was really, really paying attention was when Bilbo and the dwarves were being captured by the trolls, and the trolls were arguing over what to do with them, whether they were going to boil them or whether they were going to sit on them until they got all squished into tiny little pieces. And I started, you know, I was doing the voices, and he was kind of just like gripping me and like correcting me if I read the wrong word. I was like, okay, he's paying attention. And tonight, I feel like maybe I got a little overexcited. We'll see how it goes. But we got to Gollum, and I was just like, oh my god, this is the first time he's ever like heard of Gollum, and I'm like doing the voice. And I feel like, you know, perhaps it's possible I oversold Gollum a little bit. I'm going to maybe course correct a bit next week, next reading.
Did you do like an incredibly terrifying, creepy Gollum?
No, I stayed pretty. No, I kind of did like, you know, I don't want to blow my voice on this, you know, like sometimes I really ruin my voice doing the voices in these books. But I was just like, yes, precious, something like that. I think I did it okay, but I feel like, you know, I kind of slowed down my words when I was describing Gollum, just to like let him know that Gollum is important. And no,
I think I need to get the thing that's in the water.
That's I hate that like the music stops and you just freeze. That's terrible. It's like real. It's too real. Like when you drown, the music stops. Awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, in Sonic, it stops, and then the scary music starts.
The scary music starts when you start to realize that death is coming.
Okay, there we go.
Got it. Now get out of there. Oh. I hate movies and games that remind me of drowning. When I watch a movie, I just like hold my breath when a character is underwater. Terrible feeling.
I love that Looney Tunes cartoon where they like are underwater, but like they like sort of like don't address it, and like they don't drown either.
No, yeah, that's what I like. I like when people are underwater, but they don't drown. Like in Avatar, The Way of Water. They hold their breath for so long. You barely even think about it. Blazel asks if you've played Subnautica. I have not. Subnautica? No? Is that a freeware? We're only interested in free games tonight.
Yeah, this is a free game.
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of the games we play are free games, but not inherently. Terrifying ocean game? Yeah, no. Don't catch you won't catch me playing that shit. Hi. That's really cute the way it's like a close up. Oh,
So
no.
I think this game was inspired by Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, that looked very Bubble Bobble-y.
Like that, you know, if you think about like the lineage of like Bubble Bobble to Cave Story to Undertale with like almost 20 years in between them,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense to me. It's like this like kind of dark and creepy game when you really get down to it. Like Bubble Bobble is so cutesy. It's so Japanese. It's so safe. But then the whale appears to kill you.
Oh my god, the whale is so goddamn scary.
Okay, now I'm thinking this is just like Undertale.
Yeah.
Sorry, I almost said Underpants.
Wow, that would have been so embarrassing. You would have been traumatized by that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I guess.
You'd just be lying in bed like, underpants? Why? Alien Resurrection has the ultimate drowning scene because Ron Perlman almost actually died. Don't tell me that. I'm not gonna look at that ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, that doesn't
Horrible.
that doesn't necessarily make a scene better, does it?
No, that he almost really died. Wow, that was a real drowning scene. Oh my god. You know what I hate?
You don't have to kill Ron Perlman.
Oh my god. You know what I hate is when like in a movie, like you can see that a character is like experiencing discomfort from not being able to breathe, and then like the next shot shows how far away they are from the surface. Like that just every time that kills me. I'm just like, there's no way they're gonna make it.
Holy shit. I just saw a movie called Flow. Have you heard of this movie, Flow?
No.
It's an animated movie about realistic animals. It's so good.
Oh.
It's really good. I loved it. It's about a cat.
When's it made?
2024.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, aren't you shocked? An animated movie that just came out, and I like it.
And you like it? Is it 3D?
Yes. This is like what, Disney Pixar would be doing if they knew what they were doing. It's like, it feels like a classic Disney movie.
Who made it?
It's like a Danish film or something. I don't know who made it. But yeah, it's a great movie. Flow. It's a sweet little animated movie. It's like The Secret Life of Pets if I liked it.
with like real like compassion.
Yeah, like with realistic animals that don't speak but are still characters,
Conveying emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautifully done. Like, I don't want to talk too much about the plot.
Okay.
Just that there's like every time you see a new animal character, it's like a great moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I need to get back into movies. Usually this is the time of year that I watch a lot of movies because people start to talk about the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And then I just watch a bunch of shit that is nominated for awards so I can be like, this shit was nominated. And I don't know that it actually like improves my quality of life at all. But every time I do this,
you have to like it. You have to like it.
Every time I do that though, I do end up watching like one good movie. I didn't watch anything this year. I'm trying to think like what movies I saw in 2024 that had an impact on me.
I saw a bunch of movies. Let me think about it. I saw a movie called Mandy. It's not like from this year. I think it's from 2018. But it has like this 80s-ness to it.
I mean, that name alone.
Yeah.
Very 80s.
It's like about Nicolas Cage experiencing the worst pain ever. It's
okay.
like,
I mean that. Yeah. I mean, I just know that he'll perform it with the, with absolute 100% every time.
Yeah.
I was just screaming how to get burned at Mike today. He over toasted some bread, and I was screaming how to get burned, and he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I had very, very mixed feelings about this movie. I feel like I sort of hated it, but like I liked a lot of things about it. It looks cool. It looks great. It really looked like an old movie, which was impressive. And like, I feel like it really did portray something like painful and vulnerable that Nicolas Cage's performance was perfect for.
Yeah.
And I thought the rest of the movie sucked because he like becomes a badass, but everything before that rules.
Gotcha.
It's like Nicolas Cage just like having to experience the worst horror you could imagine.
Okay, so one of those movies that's worth seeing one time.
Yeah, totally.
Gotcha. Okay. What did I see this year? Was Love Lies Bleeding this year?
Maybe.
Love Lies Bleeding was one of those movies that like you see it and you really love it, and then a few months go by and you're like, but was it good? That's kind of where I'm at with that one now. I mean, I love
this
that.
Is like the Drake effect, where we're all questioning Drake now if he was ever good, if our Drake phase was even real.
Yeah. I think well, no, I mean, it's definitely a movie that had value, but things fall from a 5 to a 3 in your mind sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at with that one. Like I'm struggling to think like what's the movie I saw this year that I'm just like, yes, movies. I don't think I have seen one.
Yeah, movies. Well, it's rare that I get excited for movies because, it's all like Secret Life of Pets shit. Where it's like, I don't know, it's like the most frustrating script. It's like terrible pet jokes, terrible pet gags.
Yeah,
and
pet
like,
gags.
terrible execution. And then you see like the same exact type of gags in a good movie and you like them because it's actually just the execution was different.
Right, exactly. Terrible pets jokes.
Yeah, I hate them.
Everything is terrible.
I
pets
think
jokes.
I hate them, and then I like them, and then I do them in my own work because I actually like them.
Right, you're like, pets, how funny.
Pet jokes. Yeah, that's funny.
Man, that's so
funny.
So freaking funny.
Meredith's son's been saying, I'm so funny lately.
Oh, yeah. We've been working on that one. So like he cracked me up the other day. He said something so hilarious and I was laughing for so long, and then afterwards he was like, I'm so funny. I'm like, all right, so buddy, you did say something very funny. When that thought occurs to you, you say that in your head. You keep that in there, okay? You know it's true, but you don't say that, okay?
Yeah.
And we're working on that one right now.
Well, he doesn't realize it, but I also say a million things that get no laughs, and I just move on.
You just move on. You have to.
I don't repeat them as if you didn't hear me. I know you hear me now.
Sometimes I hear something you say, and I'm like, yeah, and then like I rehear it on Thingus, and I'm like, oh my god, that was so funny, and I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Well, that's okay too. You get to hear it later.
I get to hear it later, and I get to hear myself being stupid.
Yeah.
It's all the evidence that it was funny is recorded. So yeah, it's okay if you don't have to do a victory lap on your own hilariousness. You can let that slide. Yeah,
it's tough though. He wants self-esteem, and that gives you so much self-esteem, and
to feel funny.
It's still so hard, even as you age. It's not easy. You have to work the same amount.
Yeah, you make someone laugh and you're like, I'm funny. I'm so funny. You're like thinking that frantically all the time. You're not guaranteed funny your whole life.
Yeah, and then like you'll do something that's not funny, and like you'll start to worry about people thinking you're unfunny, and think like that maybe that's how you are. Maybe you are unfunny, and you have to live with that for a while.
Yeah, you do have to live with that. It's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of I hear a lot of people assigning like, you know, Elon Musk's unfunny patheticness to like the fact that he's like a billionaire, but I honestly think that's so universal. The way he is just like, he's like just so fucking unfunny, and he is uniquely thinks he can like buy a platform and force people to think he's funny, like a mod, like be a mod basically.
Yeah.
And like force people to like what he says. But like I've been dealing with that guy my entire life.
Right. That's just the average person. He's just a basic bitch. He's like a Starbucks pumpkin spice.
Yeah. Just like trying to steal and reappropriate what other people say, but sounding try hard.
Oh,
so that like
you
even
can get that guy at like Walgreens in the checkout aisle. Yes. But like even if you've never heard the guy that he's stealing it from, you know that it sucks because it just sounds sweaty. It just sounds so wet. Yeah, covered in sweat. Yeah, there's a definite like breed of post from that kind of guy that is like it's like we've been seeing it for decades, that kind of shit.
Yeah, we've been seeing it for decades. I mean, yeah, like if you spent any time on something awful, you were well acquainted with this guy.
Yeah.
This guy who is not funny enough.
I got the key, didn't I?
This guy who's not funny enough to post in Fiad, right? Like he says one thing in Fiad and people just like they find his personal website and go into all his private images folders and find the worst picture he would ever want anybody to see and post it on the forum, like right below his post 5 seconds after he made an unfunny post.
Yes. Yes.
Like they would sniff out the most vulnerable thing about him a second after he tried to be funny. And that's how you're supposed to deal with a guy like that.
Right, but this is what like social media has changed about internet social stuff. Like if you have a billion followers, nobody can make fun of you because there'll be consequences for that.
Right.
They'll just chase you. They'll just get the bots to chase you. They'll have the bots tell everyone who to chase.
Yeah. It's true, like
you're telling me you can't even call this guy the pussy that he is for doing that?
Yeah, I mean that's why everybody is off the website at this point. Like it really is just like a leper colony at this point, which was also something they had at Something Awful.
Yes, for the unfunny losers.
The unfunny losers, they would put them in the leper colony.
They would gas you.
Yeah.
And they'd permaban you, and you'd be like, "Why was I banned?"
Right, and basically, Lotex doesn't like you meant that nobody around here likes you.
No, if Lotex doesn't like you, then you're annoying. You're taking up space.
Yeah.
You're saying stupid shit. You're a baby. Your icon is a baby to prove it.
And you just won't go away, even though people are saying that they don't like your company. You're one of those annoying fucking people that's like, well, actually, the reason I'm here is to annoy you. I didn't come here to be friends with any of you. I just wanted to annoy you. I don't care at all.
I was trying to be unfunny. You don't get the joke, Batman.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, you know, this is hardly worth talking about anymore. I mean, we're I hate that I'm back on. I hate that I'm back on a social media platform. I really hate it. Every once in a while, I feel like piping up and expressing an opinion these days.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I'm nice now because for mental health reasons.
Yes.
I don't really do that shit because I understand how fragile everyone else's mental health is too. I don't want to bring people down by being opinionated on social media. I feel like people haven't stopped policing though, and I don't want to do that either.
No.
I'm sick of all that. People are like, oh, can we not do this? Can we not do that? It's like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing any of it. I'm not doing any of it. Well, I got a little saucy about yellow paint the other day. And I honestly, I feel like I came out pretty unscathed. I was just saying, I was saying what a lot of people who follow me are thinking, and I didn't get like massively re-skeeted or whatever the fuck. And you know, I didn't have a lot of people protesting what I was saying.
This Ninja Turtles level of
this
suck.
is so irritating. But you know, I was kind of making fun because every time there's a discourse around yellow paint. Yes. Oh, it's just a heart container.
Yeah.
Worth it. Every time there's a discourse around yellow paint, you always get like the people who work on like big budget games with like, I don't know, they usually have like 2,000 followers, right? 2,500 followers. And what they say is, what people don't understand is how stupid people are. Like, what people don't understand is how dumb the testers are. Like, you know, we sit in a room and we watch people play these games, and no matter what we do, they don't find the door.
Yeah.
And that is supposed to be, again? Well, now you're good at it.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be, something that you simply can't dispute. Is that this person who works for a game studio has found the stupidest person ever playing their game. And because the stupidest person ever exists, apparently you need to structure your game around them.
Yeah, everyone is thinking of him. Everyone is thinking of this guy who plays every game and sucks at all of them.
And all of them is stupid. And the thing is,
that dumb, and he has money for every game.
Yeah, he has money for every game, and he complains about every game. The thing is, like, look, it sucks if somebody doesn't get your game and complains about it and writes a bad review instead of understanding that perhaps the game isn't for them. But you need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with that. Because
stop watching them play. Just let them be.
Let them be. The thing is, all right, first of all, not everybody who struggles and is frustrated with a game is going to complain about it. You're assuming the worst in people. First of all, you're assuming they're stupid because they don't understand your game. That's your first wrong move. Next, you're assuming that not only are they stupid and don't understand your game, but they're going to be malicious about it with you. They're gonna yell at you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're already canceling you in your mind.
Yeah.
They've already like nailed you to the cross in your mind.
You've nailed yourself to the cross, really. And you're just imagining in your fantastical imaginative world, which by the way, why don't you use some of those ideas for your games? Just a little suggestion. They are just imagining the worst in people in advance.
Yeah, people do that shit with movie scripts too. That's why Star Wars was so butchered, because because nerds on Reddit had already guessed what was going to happen in the plot. They changed it to be more mysterious.
What do they care? Let the nerds be happy that they'd be happy if they guessed it.
Yeah.
So
they
what if
guessed it? That's good.
Or maybe they complained the movie didn't offer any new content because they guessed it. Like maybe they would do that, but what is that, like 400 people?
This is like this. I feel like this is part of like fandoms, like the audience and the creators having like this contentious relationship.
Yeah.
It's like it's totally all about that, right? Like that'll keep the little SOBs happy.
Absolutely. And you see this relationship sustained on social media. And I honestly think it would be better for both parties if we didn't do this anymore. If creators and their audience did not interact this much. Because you do get it from both sides. Like there's a phenomenon on Blue Sky right now that I'm only noticing because of like, you know, maybe this was probably happening on Twitter for a while. But there's a mass influx of people. So I'm noticing it and other people are noticing it, that there are a lot of people who think you're an asshole if you are followed by way more people than you follow. Like they think you're an asshole if you're followed by 10,000 people, but you only follow like 100 people.
Yeah.
Like they expect you to follow 10,000 people. Like how would you?
What if I'm an asshole? I'm an asshole.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like if somebody with that attitude thinks you're an asshole, that's fine, because that person and I are simply never going to agree. We
I like three people.
And I think
and
most
millions of us like me. That's just, everyone's different. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I don't get those people, but also those people are somebody's grandma. Like it's honestly like none of my business what they think is rude on social media. A lot of people think different things are rude. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have to agree on what's rude and what's not rude. And we certainly don't all have to interact with each other and even see each other. This was such a mistake. And I mean, I know we've articulated this in many ways before, but you know, this is ruining our favorite thing. Like good art is at stake here because people are just, they are so insecure with the idea that somebody somewhere is going to have a problem with what they're doing, that they are paralyzed out of giving their work the specificity that would define it as theirs. They're broadening their work as if a TV network is breathing down their necks out of preemptive fear that somebody is going to be mad about it. Somebody that they don't even have any respect for. Right?
Right.
If you're worried that your audience is going to feel betrayed by you, that's a completely different thought than being worried that some absolute moron who you have no respect for is going to be mad at you.
Yeah. Yeah, the sooner you dump those people, the better you'll feel.
But I mean, you know, I think the best attitude is to just ignore them, because some of them are going to react completely differently than you think.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the beautiful thing. Not that your fans liked the thing that you made, that somebody just randomly stumbled on it without any idea what it was and gave their time to it and loved it.
Yeah.
You're ruining the potential for that by sacrificing things about your own work to the polar opposite of that. You know, the person who doesn't know anything about you and doesn't want to know anything about you. Why are you trying to impress that person?
Yeah, you should follow 3 people because you're only making stuff for those 3 people. Yeah, your sibling who you want to make laugh, and that one guy who's been following your work for 15 years. Yeah. And that guy's not going anywhere, and neither is your sibling. So, have at it. Do the new weird thing that you've been thinking about. Take chances. Thinking about things.
Thinking about things. Like, if you're thinking about what other people think about you, you're not thinking about things.
No, you're not thinking about things. You're thinking about like weird hallucinated things that are not like nothing nobody even wants. Like you can't worry about how people will react to your creative decisions and change them based on that. That is just like you're asking to have no fads instead of 3.
Yeah. Do you think Pepper does that? Pepper's thinking about things.
I'm thinking about.
Do you think
things.
Heidi's doing that?
No.
Worrying about other people? She's following the drive that she has always followed.
Oh, how do I play another game?
How do you play another game? Here, I'll help you out. All right, old man, I'll help you out.
Can we try Doom again?
Yeah.
I want to Doom. I want to go Doom.
Fun aloud. Here we are at the end. All right, we'll go a little later than usual because we started so late.
Hurt me plenty.
Fun.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, you really like. I really do feel like the older I get, the more I realize that the instincts that make me, you know, pick at my own skin and pace around, have not actually ever led me astray. That's when I'm thinking about things.
Yeah.
That's where the good stuff comes from. Yeah, I shouldn't pick at my skin.
No, but you should use that energy for good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, you know, the way you like to assume the best in people and, you know, always assume that people have things going on that you can't possibly be aware of. I think it's also safe to say that everybody is thinking about things when they are most comfortable with their environment. And that those things are their brilliance. So good to have the soundboard back. Doom Guy's lefty, huh? I wonder if that means John Romero is a lefty. A lot of lefty artists make their characters lefty.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about it, that most first-person shooter characters are righty.
Yeah, he must be a lefty. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
Doom Guy is lefty.
20 bottles of champagne.
Like when John Romero was sneaking out of his house to go to the pizzeria before his stepdad kicked his ass, he was thinking about things.
He was thinking about how cool this game would be.
Yeah.
I guess he was thinking about a different type of video game back then.
Well, he was thinking about trying to like run through this corridor and get his treasures before the creature came after him.
Oh, man.
And how great it would be if he had a way to fight the creature.
Yeah, like kill him.
Yeah.
Kill him over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more of a stable place to put this keyboard.
Let's see. Let me get you a big old hardcover. How about the Moomin box set?
Thank you.
Not like we're using it for anything else. Just kidding. We read it every day.
A Doom house?
That's right. Doom. This would be a great time to have that echoing Fruity Loops filter.
That's
right, Doom. I thought I told you to clear out of this wonderful Doom house.
All right,
What an
Yeah,
odd looking figurine. My name is Reginald P. Lennox, and ever since my wife died, I've been very sad.
What can we play next?
All right, we got Chex Quest.
Yeah, let's do Chex Quest.
Chex.
So Doom is not a free game, but I feel like a lot of us probably played it for free.
Yes, and there's so many free games made from its source code.
Let's honor some of our favorite free games while enjoying Chex Quest.
Yeah. What other free games do we like, guys?
Snood. You love Snood.
I do love
I guess
Snood.
this is just keyboard.
Oh, somebody's asking if Joe is a lefty. You're ambidextrous, right?
I am a lefty when it comes to drawing. I use a lefty mouse, but when it comes to like playing ball, I throw with my right hand.
Yeah, that's
I do not throw with my left hand. I can't even use scissors with my left hand.
that's so
I can
interesting.
only use scissors with my right hand, and I cannot draw with my right hand.
Man, I mean,
But I can when I'm in VR. I can sculpt with my right hand, like really well, better than with my left hand.
that is so strange. It's like you're like wired all over the place, and you have to like calibrate which hand is right.
Yeah.
Have you ever been wrong? Have you ever accidentally got off on the wrong hand with something and realized later that it wasn't working out?
I'm not sure. Like with what?
I don't know. Like a new sport that you've never tried before.
Right.
Or
yeah.
or like a skateboard where you like start on one foot.
If it's a sport, then my dominant hand is usually my right hand. Like if it's like lifting,
if it involves like articulating your arm,
throwing, or like I don't know, batting, that's all righty stuff.
righty stuff. But when it comes to like intricate wrist movements, it's all about the left.
I guess. But what about the scissors? That's the right hand.
What's going on with Joe? I think you're probably just capable of both, but one of them feels more comfortable. Like you could probably train yourself to do it either way.
I guess you could. I don't know why. Oh shit.
Oh no.
I don't know why I've been trained to do it this way myself. Why did I lose? Oh, thank you.
I can't remember if I ever mentioned this, but I have a friend, Yuko Oda, who at some point lost the use of her dominant hand for like a long time, and trained the other hand. And she was already an excellent draftsman, and became, better at drawing with the non-dominant hand than most people can possibly be with their good hand. Like, just sort of out of necessity. And it's always made me wonder, not how hard that would be, but like, just what that process would be like.
Yeah.
To like start over with the hand. With the other hand.
Well, yeah, I think what, is somebody attacking me?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, even though, we've sort of attached our identity to being lefties.
I know. It would be very hard to not be special anymore.
Isn't that something that they used to do? They would just like train lefties to use their right hand.
Yeah, like our parents' generation, they did that. Like there was something sinful about being a lefty. It made you perverted or something. Maybe it's true. I identify as the little freak that they thought I was.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something to that.
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
like Ned Flanders, the little freak.
Yeah, no.
He was into some freaky shit, which
freaky
is why
left-handedness.
he's so religious now.
Well, that's why he's jacked like me. There's something about it. Something about thinking with the right side of the brain that makes you want to, like, I don't know, pour yourself into little pursuits like that. Is that true? Do I know any lefties who's not at all motivated?
Yeah, I feel like just being a lefty makes you like the underdog or something.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've got a bit of a chip on my shoulder because I'm a lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like if you can just be trained to use your other hand, then lefties are like the ones who didn't want to convert. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, I didn't want to because I was busy thinking about things.
Thinking about things. You love that.
I do. I feel like you use these terms that like start out as a joke and then I think about them for a while and they become so real to me. Like there's nothing else that quite says it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it when I can come up with a line that's like that, that's memorable in some way.
Well, I've been thinking about what you said about Space Jam and the proverbial basketball of talent.
Yes.
And how not only is there like talent inside a like an individual, but there's also talent inside like a work of art or a team.
Yeah.
that can get drained away.
Yeah.
That can be maybe transferred to something else or drained away and doesn't exist even if like a lot of the same people are still involved. It's just gone.
Yeah, you can have all the best like NBA superstars and they just like don't know how to play basketball anymore. It's just like they're just some guys now. And it's like it's almost like you're hanging out with some like 98-year-old World War II vet. It's not like this guy is gonna kill Hitler now, but like, you know, you honor him for what he was once.
Right.
And that's sort of like how it would be for any athlete who reaches that age.
Yeah, and you want an athlete to reach old age, and that means they're going to lose it at some point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess Tom Brady made it longer than any other football player, right?
Yeah, he did.
He was like 50.
He was in his like late 40s, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, when people talk to Arnold about his physique and, you know, being a man in his, he's probably 70 by now.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, you know, he'll basically be like, yes, it is quite awful what my body is now, but it's also better than most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good anecdote, Gabby, about how the Velvet Underground, everyone who listened to them started a band. I mean, that mythology is also assigned to a Sex Pistols concert that happened in like some shitty little church in you know, Manchester or wherever the hell, just before the band blew up, and like there were like 30 people at the concert and every one of them started a notable band.
Yeah.
Nice. Like the idea, yeah, like that, like the basketball energy was in that room, right?
The basketball was the talent was being transferred around that room to the 30 people, and it was being spread evenly. So a lot of them got it. I mean, they got a lot of it.
Yes. Yeah, they got a lot of it. Yeah. And I mean, stuff like that is incredibly fragile and can die. You know, if somebody with $1 million notices it, it dies. You know?
Well, yeah, that may have been what the original metaphor was, that like you could just have some moron played by Danny DeVito come up to you and, you know, puff a big cigar in your face and say, "Hey kid, you want to make $1 million?" And it's like, this guy is just going to enslave you. And like the way he does it is by taking, you know, he takes your talent, or he takes the talent of these other guys to use against you.
Yes. He takes, like, I mean, he kills the golden goose. You know, you might get the one egg that the goose was working on, but you're not going to get any more eggs.
He killed the whole team of golden geese for the biggest goose, Michael Jordan. He thought all he really needs is Michael Jordan, but like, you know, they were just going to sacrifice these other talented guys to do it.
Right. If you're taking the full Space Jam metaphor here, the long form Space Jam metaphor.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, just like me, you also realize there's something to this movie that I don't really like. Has a really cool statement about life that I like to think about.
I like to think about.
I think about things.
Think about things. Well, I've told you how Zizek talks about how sometimes he hears about like some movie or like some piece of art or you know, he hears about a book or something and he's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm thinking about things. I'm not going to see that movie because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil what it might be about.
Yeah, exactly. Like whatever it is you got out of it. All right. Is that Beavis and Butthead? Before it sounded like Howard Dean going, yeah. Yeah.
That does sound a bit like Beavis.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're right. You're saying that Brian Eno said that thing about the Velvet Underground. Well, Brian Eno is also the one who said that the scenius is the genius, right? That like the genius of the scene is the reason that is what any great artist of the time can credit their success to, right? Like any great artist of a time, like you can't just take their greatness alone in a vacuum. You have to consider all the other artists that they were being brilliant right alongside. And that's
so like if you killed all of those other brilliant guys like Tupac and Biggie, you'd be the only one representing that scene.
Yeah, it's a really intriguing idea that Eno had here. I wonder if Diddy was reading about that at the time. Yeah, that like you can't just like, yeah, because like any artist, unless you're talking specifically about naive art, you're talking about an artist who existed within the world of artists at the time.
Yeah.
So they were borrowing from them, and you know, everybody was borrowing from each other. And a lot of the time, you know, you'll be like, how come all these artists knew each other? Is this a conspiracy? And like, they came up together. They all came up together. They all stole from each other.
Yes.
And, you know, it's not wrong to acknowledge the unique appeal of one artist, but you definitely also, like when you're examining an artist's life, you should also be examining the movement that they were part of.
Right. Right, like Picasso or Dali. Like, you know, there's a lot of artists who make stuff like Dali, and probably have been since the beginning of time, right?
Right, just making something that just looks like their nightmares.
Yeah, it's just like weird. And it's like everyone's like, that sucks, and they didn't even save it.
Right.
They just threw it out.
But for a collective of people to be exploring that idea all at once and like maybe trying to outdo each other.
Now.
Yeah.
It's good now.
It's good now. And for the critical world to be taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Something forms within that, you know? Like it all coalesces into like the greatest works of that movement.
Yeah.
That couldn't have existed without the movement.
Right. Am I out of Zorch?
Oh no, the instructions are at the top of the screen. I can tell you what it says on here. It's not cropped. Picked up a mini Zorch recharge.
I have enough Zorch. Oh no, right, that's the fire button. But yeah, like uh, some movements last a long time. Like you could probably be like at the end of a movement that like the people at the beginning of are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, how long was the Renaissance? Like 100 years?
Yeah, it was longer than a lifetime.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, but we called it the Renaissance. They didn't call it that.
Are you
right?
sure?
Really? They called it that?
I don't know. I guess I never thought about it. I feel like I assumed they knew it was a Renaissance during the Renaissance.
I mean, yeah, maybe they knew that things were perhaps like, you know, they could tell that shit was blowing up, but I've always felt that was a title that historians have assigned to the time period.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's not know.
Let's not know. Although I do like to think about things. I like to take what I do know and piece them together in ways like thinking about how like we didn't know things. You know, after the fall of the Roman Empire, we started making things up. We were thinking about things. We were coming up with bullshit that was fun, like dragons and werewolves. And then the Renaissance was like, well, now we're getting good. Now we're taking art seriously and not making everything look like shit. Like no perspective or anatomy on anything.
Right. We're mastering the form.
Yeah, we're doing science now.
Yeah.
We're thinking about things.
Yeah. You know, just periods of extreme, you know, creativity and fruitful creativity.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that we're going to be able to define the age that we live in right now. Ultimately, like we can kind of guess, right? We can guess that we're living in a hell world right now.
We're living in hell, Doom 2, hell on earth.
we seem. I mean, we seem. I mean, we seem to be living in
a society.
We seem to be living through a collapse of a brief period in which artists were part of, like, you know, mass production of you know, an economy of ideas. We're seeing that end, it seems. Artists have either been forced into the mold of you know, the narrowing mold of what is saleable, or
feet pics,
or they're just leaving it to the computers. And those are your options.
Also feet pics.
Yeah. I mean, you know, leaving it to the algorithm is like basically what it is at this point, because everything comes down to numbers, right? Everything is being kind of led in the direction of getting the most people to do the most, you know, to hit the button to make the thing go burr.
Yeah.
And right now, that is leading people towards an economy of art where people are expected to only half be paying attention while they're consuming it.
Yeah, it's like some shit you leave on from Netflix. You just leave on in the background.
Yeah.
And it asks you if you're watching it because it can't believe that you're watching it.
Yeah, and like...
we can turn this off, right? It's like your nanny.
Yeah, it is your nanny. And like the people making the shows are being asked to like have their characters narrate what they're doing, so that people who are making spaghetti will not be confused. Right, that sounds like Howard Dean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know how we'll see this period because it seems like the initial promise of the internet was that it would be a very creatively fruitful place. And what are the great works of this age? Here we see a great wasteland. What are they? We don't know. We don't know.
All I know is that we cannot be making stuff for that guy who plays every game and trips over his mile-long dick all over his house every day, all day.
No. We need to make things for people who we actually want to connect with.
I feel like you have to pretend sometimes that money doesn't exist,
Yeah.
so that you don't make stupid fucking decisions in the pursuit of money.
Yeah,
Just think about the people 10,000 years from now who will be playing this shit.
and finding meaning in it.
I promise you they will still be playing Chex Quest in the year 10,000. I don't know, it's fucking good.
fucking good.
I see exactly what people saw in it, and I didn't even doubt it for a second before playing it.
It's in a cereal box.
It's fun. It's Wolfenstein. It's, shooting this gun is really satisfying in particular. I'm a little lost,
What
but
are you shooting? Are you shooting milk? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just non-violently dispatching these guys and just sending them to another dimension.
Another dimension, yeah.
A safe dimension where
Sure.
there's
Where they
endless
can't hurt
checks.
anybody or themselves.
I'm sending them to the Chex dimension where Chex is free. They're happy there.
It's free, just like this game. Yeah, this game dreams of a better world.
Well, isn't corn free? It just grows out of the ground.
It should be.
It should just be free to get a bowl of Chex for for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't make checks. The process by
Yeah.
which this is made is pretty sophisticated.
But it's also very automated. How has the process of making checks changed in the last 100 years?
Yeah, not much, but I
It's
don't
like
have
Crash
the
Bandicoot music.
I don't have the warehouse where they're or the factory where they're making this shit. Yeah, it does sound a little like Crash.
Anybody can make their own checks, and I guess it's the same product that they sell for a few cents less.
I mean, yeah, corn is free. It's grass, right? It's literally grass that has
Yeah.
been engineered to be like fatter little seed pods. So you can crunch them and they're sweet.
Yummy.
It's grass.
It's grass.
You can't grow one corn. You can only grow a block of corn. It's meant to be grown like grass.
Yeah, you grow a ton of it. And then you waste most of it.
Fred just raided and is pretty excited about Chex Quest.
Welcome, Raiders. Thank you,
welcome,
Fred.
everyone.
We're playing free games. We were talking about how great it is to get a free game and thinking about some of our freest games that we love.
Yeah, we're thinking about things.
What is this? This is a mod of, I guess, Wolfenstein, and it's
looks a lot
free.
like it.
And yeah, it plays just like it. Or maybe it's Doom 1. But yeah, it's the same game basically.
Yeah.
But it's safe for kids. It's as safe as cereal.
Yes.
It's as safe as milk.
Yeah.
Safe as cereal and milk.
Cereal and milk, part of this nutritious breakfast.
Yes.
Well, it's
free
just
games.
free
part
games.
of a video game diet.
Yeah.
Remember those PS1 demos? I miss that shit.
Yeah, free games. I mean, there are still free games.
You can get lots of demos on Steam, yeah. And Itch.io has free games.
Free games forever.
Newgrounds has had free games for 3 decades now.
I'm coming around on free games. I gotta say, I've kind of bought into the false idea that a free game is not worth much.
You fell prey to the whole industry trap.
Yeah,
you
I really
believe
did.
there's an industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it is high time that I unlearn that one. So, on Christmas morning, Mike gave me a $50 Steam card to buy a game as I wish. So instead of scratching off the debris to get the code underneath, I peeled it off and ruined it immediately. So I sent Steam a support ticket. I opened a support ticket for it. But
Why you don't work? I did it wrong. I thought I did it right.
I was so stupid. And but so then I was like, okay, well, it's gonna take like a few days for them to like get me my Steam bucks. So I'm gonna play a free game right now. And I hopped on my wish list and I found this game Franzen, which I've been I heard someone recommend a while ago. It's just sitting on my wish list. And it's a free game. And I was like, all right, fine. Which is what it takes to play a game, you know? Somebody has to just like, it has to jump in front of you so many times that you're like, fine.
Yeah.
Right? So I load up Franzen, which is an RPG Maker 3000 game that one person made. And of course I love it. I've been playing it for days. I've been playing it since Christmas, and I think I'm almost done. It's great. It's just like a classic JRPG throwback, which I've attempted many of these games and I've never stuck to any of them. This one, really fun, and it is just like, you know, janky as fuck. Doesn't fucking matter at all. Like, it does not matter in the least. And it is just like, it is one of those things where magic is spun from almost nothing, right? Magic is spun from sand.
Yeah.
They hit you with a couple of really great characters right from the start. And a beautiful little world. And that sustains you as you play this game that was clearly made by one person. It's wonderful. It's a miracle that games like this exist. So, you know, I've been playing this game for days, and basically, like, I haven't touched my Steam bucks, and I'm basically treating it like a Christmas present that Mike gave me because it's as good as any game that you would pay for. Better, in fact. So
yeah, just because a game costs money doesn't make it good.
No.
And you know, the opposite is true.
Yeah.
You don't pay for a game. It could be really great.
It could be really great. It could just be somebody who likes to make free games. They have their own reasons for it being free.
Yeah, like Deltarune Chapter 1 was free.
Free.
And then Chapter 2 is free. And like, they were both really good. It wasn't like they suck or anything and they're free. It's like...
Dude, do you know why Toby Fox decided to make the games free?
I don't know. Maybe because he just wanted more people to play them.
You want more people to get on board with it. I mean, it is quite a gift to quite a few people who don't have a lot of money to spend and are looking for like, it's like a pretty kid-friendly game.
Deltarune?
Yeah.
A little bit. It can get a little scary. They might say hell or bitch, but
yeah.
you know, your work says that.
Yeah, no, if you're 11 years old, you don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing to like make something that delights so many people for free.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, Undertale was not free, but it was DRM free, which is another kind of free game,
right?
Where you could be cool and make it so if somebody you know bought it, you know, like your roommate bought it, they could just give it to you on USB.
Yeah. Yeah, I sell DRM. I sell DRM free copies of my games.
It's cool.
It's cool to do. Yeah, and I mean, I give my webcomic away for free. I still give it away for free.
Yeah.
And you know, I do sometimes think about how like for years I was kind of, you know, tormented by this idea that like because I gave it away for free, there would be people who would never take it seriously as anything but like amateur work.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. There are people who will never give it the time of day because it is free. Because it's a free webcomic.
As opposed to something that is like in a comic that you have to buy.
That starts with a publisher. You can never get it for free.
But then like somebody could just scan it and upload it.
They could, but...
So it's more about your decision to make it free is what makes them think different of it.
It's true. I mean, if people want to steal something, they're going to steal it.
Yeah.
My decision to make it free means that
it's easier.
Every 12-year-old can read it at the computer lab.
Yeah.
They don't have to pirate it.
Yeah,
they
they
can
don't
just
have to see porn ads just to look at your comic.
And I didn't even realize that at the time. I was just thinking about adults who were broke and were enjoying the comic.
Yeah.
And that hopefully they would take some of the money they saved not buying it and spend that on a little merch or something.
Yeah.
And like some of them did. It sustained me. But what I didn't really count on that has absolutely been true is just how many 12-year-olds read it in the computer lab and grew up and give a shit about it because it was the free comic they could read that didn't suck.
I mean, yeah, like after The Simpsons started to get bad, it's like you start grabbing onto those little crumbs like Mission Hill, and then like that died, and it's like Octopus Pie. It's like you got Octopus Pie. It's not in color or animated, but it's basically Mission Hill. It's basically like what you lost. This is the Indiana Jones thing that is in its place.
Right. You get like one little scene of Mission Hill every 3-4 days or so.
Although the idea of being able to see it in a computer lab makes it maybe better than a television show.
Right. Because you can just like sneak a peek.
Yeah. You could just like, reread it and hear the voices in your head and like, it doesn't even need to be like, fucking car commercials, big fucking deal, just to justify the stupid thing existing. It's like, hey, it's free. What's the catch? Does it suck? No, it doesn't even suck. It's like, there's boobs. That's pretty cool. I know.
Yeah, I'm in hindsight, I have no regrets because like, I think, perhaps that's how Toby Fox sees things is like, he makes things as free as possible, as free as you can. And I can't make everything for free. I can't make my games for free. No. But I did make something for free for 10 years. And people can still read it for free. And I think having that be part of your body of work, this thing that people can really like dig deep into, that they're never going to have to pay for one thing, makes you a bit of a nobody in all the snooty snoots' minds. And for another thing, makes you a hero to a certain subset of people. Yeah.
No, totally. You should do it for those people that are quieter, that are making their opinions seem so important that like, the 12-year-olds in the computer lab aren't gonna be the snooty snoots trying to judge you for your decisions.
Oh, it's free. Never mind.
Oh, it's free. It's not even on DVD.
Yeah, I'll just read something published by Drawn and Quarterly instead. Well,
call this a comic? It's not even in color.
Yeah, well, eventually it was in color. I got a little higher end with it later on when I had a Patreon.
Yeah, you got a little higher when you got a Patreon.
Yeah, I was like, it seems that I have more reliable income to spend on weed. Well, if you guys will keep me in weed, then I will keep you in color. It was a fantastic arrangement we had.
Yeah, sorry. Were you about to end the show?
Yeah, well, we are after 11 now. We started late, but we can go a little longer, but we should make gestures toward the end of the night here. What can we say to the 100 people in the chat with us?
Well, since we were talking about how free and great and free it is to be free, let's talk a little bit about those anti-piracy measures. Like, when I was a kid, I played Earthbound on a, real cartridge, real Super Nintendo, and I got a message that says it is a serious crime to copy video games. Blah.
Trying to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, the fucking boogeyman is gonna get ya.
Yeah.
It's like first of all, this game was we paid after market prices. You know, it's fucking way overpriced what we paid for it. So that was very unnecessary, Nintendo, to put that in there for people who paid full fucking price or more for it.
Yeah.
To have to see that shit and have a heart attack. In Donkey Kong Country, they show like a picture of them in jail. When
Wait, did they really do that in Smash Brothers, or was that fake?
Well, like there's like a whole genre of YouTube video where people make fake anti-piracy screens where they show characters in jail. But I think the Donkey Kong Country 3 one was real.
Was actually real.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is really fascinating that people make art of the feeling of a game both trying to frighten you and trying to make it contextually appropriate to the game you're playing, right? They're engineering an experience of they're trying to intimidate you.
Yeah.
But they're engineering an experience like they would for any other aspect of the game.
Right. Like, I feel like Pizza Tower may have even had an anti-piracy screen.
Oh, yeah?
Which I think is such a novel thing for an indie game. Because, like, you might even expect them to make it free.
Right.
But no, actually, they need money. That's okay. It's not... It actually might even be one of the things that makes the game better, knowing that they're actually getting paid for it.
Right. That you have to enter the code to prove that you're not a Beagle Boy.
Yes, except it's not Disney. It's just a guy.
It's just a guy.
And his boys. Oh, right. I have some very sad news.
Oh.
The Minute Hour has taken down all their videos.
Yeah, I saw that. Our guy and his
gone.
But he's gone. Where did he? Do we have any answers?
I mean, he said that he uploaded everything to like his site, and you could just download it all there for free, which is great. Now you don't even have to watch YouTube ads. But I don't know. It still feels like a really big thing to take your stuff off of YouTube. I guess I've thought about doing that when I was like really worried about what was going to happen next for me. I thought maybe I should hold my videos ransom and say give me money or they die. But ultimately I decided to be nice now and not to panic or make other people panic.
Right.
But I feel terrible that they took their stuff down, but I also feel like that is their decision. You can do that. I thought about it.
Yeah.
As drastic as it is.
Well, I mean, you and all these other YouTubers are in a horrible predicament where your work is like basically part of a TV network. Like you own the intellectual property, but you don't fully own it because YouTube has monopolized the video content internet.
Yeah, it's true.
So anytime you're like, where are you going to go with it? You don't have an answer to that. Well, you and I have started cooking up an answer. I think we're gonna start to restream this on more than one platform, right? We're not beholden to Twitch, and I'd like to continue thinking about things in those terms. That like. We will go where people are going to see us, and we don't really need it to be any one particular place.
That's true. Yeah, like I always feel that you could run. I always feel that way, that like, you know, we're not actually as stuck on a lot of these sites as we think. We always just end up on some new site, and there is all the people you knew. Blue Sky, you just found everybody you know immediately.
They are. Yeah, there they are.
Immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you won't keep up with all of them, but you'll find some new people too.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find those old people one day. But yeah, I think it's been good for us to all massively leave a platform and find that it's fine.
Yeah, because there should be a new way of video sharing in the near future that is a little bit more responsible than the stupid fucking shit YouTube does. It's like, yeah, like we're not making enough money. That's only one of the problems. But I think all of the problems stem from the fact that they're a monopoly.
Yeah, and that they've become the only place
fucking trapped in here.
They've become the only place that people feel like they can get an audience, and yet what's the point of an audience if you're only making money for the platform and not for yourself?
Yeah.
What's the point of owning things if you don't own the means of production?
Well, you know, if I were to take all that stuff down and put it on my own site, then I would be able to get rid of anybody who tries to re-upload my shit to YouTube. I'd be able to take that down.
You'd be able to take that down.
And then people would have no choice but to go to my site. But that's not very nice now. I kind of wish that I didn't give a shit if anything I made was re-uploaded. It should be on every website.
Right. Well, maybe the dog, the stuffed dog will open things up a little bit.
Oh my God.
Once you're not relying on the platform as much, when you are directly, you're directly fulfilling the you know, the desires of your audience by creating things that they like enough to want to buy.
Yeah, it's much more valuable than the ad space on the videos, is just like how that stuff exists in people's minds and how they care about it enough to buy merchandise for it. That stuff is where the real money is. You know, we knew this since we were babies watching Spaceball. But like, yeah, like even if the dog plush is a moderate success, it will be more money than I've ever had at one time.
I mean, that is like the really fucked up thing about YouTube, is that like it creates this impression for people that YouTubers with a lot of views are rolling in it, and and that when they disappear, they are cratering a lucrative business. But what they're actually cratering is YouTube's business.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not putting much of a dent in it, but a little ding perhaps, by taking the top content away.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, YouTube will just fill that. They have a captive audience. They'll fill it with more content. But yeah, I don't think people should be afraid to consider bailing, because I don't think they have much to lose anymore. YouTube is not offering them anything to lose. So, you have any last minute notes there before we call it a night?
I wanted to talk about something related to things with views.
All right.
But where was it? I think I wanted to ask again, how many views do you think something has?
Sure.
What was it though? Oh yeah, I already did all these. So like, okay, that little Chex guy, right? Reminded me of Waterman. Do you remember that cartoon? It's like really obscure now.
Waterman.
There was a cartoon, a Flash cartoon called Waterman, and they were making a Waterman movie, and they did like a fundraiser for it and everything, and they got Leslie Nielsen to do a voice.
Oh my God! Wait,
was
it self-funded? Did they have a production company?
It was just like a Kickstarter.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Like how much of how many minutes of voice did Leslie Nielsen contribute?
So the movie was never finished, but they made a few minutes of the movie, and it's all Leslie Nielsen stuff.
Wow! Did they release it?
Yeah, they released it like 8 years ago. How many views?
500,000.
16,000.
That sucks. Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And this
so
is a movie
much.
that they worked on for years, never finished, got a celebrity.
Oh my God, they spent so much money and so much time. Broken dream.
There's another thing I heard people talking about yesterday, the Undergrads movie. And the guy is using Runway, the AI video thing, to do in-betweens and shit for him.
Oh,
and
no.
it looks like, well, you might expect, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Undergrads never looked good.
No, and I'm glad that human beings are not animating on that, frankly. But yeah, that was a Kickstarter thing that happened 8 years ago, and the guy's still going on it.
Oh my God.
I believe the Waterman movie was shelved, and the clip was all they ever released.
Was this Leslie Nielsen's last role?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh man, all for 16,000 views. All for 16,000 views. I mean,
Except all 16,000 of those people went on to make their own movie that never got finished.
I think that's a perfect place to say goodnight. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've been here since the beginning, thank you for hanging out during our tech problems. We're gonna work this out much better next week. Good night, everybody.
Shut up!